It's morning now, and being the first one up, I'd like to take advantage and take in the scenery that's around me, spend a little bit of time just watching the sun come up. It's times like this that really help me enjoy getting away from the hustle and bustle of day-to-day life and just enjoying camp. Everyone knows that coffee is the most important thing in the morning, but somehow we seem to think it's the most important thing to James. When we left camp this morning, we knew that we had a long drive ahead of us. The road that we're on parallels these high-tension power lines for miles. And all we were trying to do was to get from the site of the A6 intruder wreck all the way over to Heart Mountain Hot Springs, where we were hoping to spend the night. This land is rough and barren, and not much can survive here, save for a few wild horses, antelope, and other small desert creatures. We came upon our first gate of the day, and it certainly wouldn't be the last.
What do you guys think so far?
It's a good time. Good scenery.
Yeah, having fun?
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you think so far, Gary?
I love this trip. Lots of good scenery and everything. Great trip. Great group.
As I mentioned, this is not our last gate. We've left the high-tension power lines behind us and are now climbing up towards the highway, where we'll have a short section on paved road before we hit some of the nicest dirt roads that I have ever had the pleasure of driving on. We made a short trip into the tiny town of Plush to get some fuel and other supplies before making our way up into the Heart Mountain National Antelope Refuge. But first, we made a quick stop for water.
I know, that bag is the only water we've gone through, and I still have half of it left. And I've been showering every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every morning. And I have 12 gallons in the Jeep still in the front tank.
Okay. Pretty good.
When we did get to Heart Mountain Hot Springs, we sat in the hot springs for probably 20 minutes before we realized, where's Gary?
So Gary lost his key, and so we are all pitching in to try and help Gary find his key for his Jeep.
I found it!
Hey, she found it. Where was it?
In its jacket pocket!
It was right in your jacket pocket the whole time.
What can I say? Put it in there this morning and forgot about it.
So Gary did not get to enjoy the hot springs, which we all felt bad for. Sorry, Gary.
So, as happened to me last time, there was no spot to camp at Heart Mountain Hot Springs. So, we are making our way through the dark, which actually has been a whole lot of fun, on our way to Shirk Ranch.
Coming down that ride.
Damn, you weren't kidding.
Just had a rabid coyote bouncing around out in the brush.
Don't worry, there wasn't really a rabid coyote there. It seemed to have been a running joke for the whole trip. But regardless, how would you know if a coyote was rabid anyway?
I just saw a fuel bounce. I was wondering if it maybe dropped out of Scott's truck there.
Can only hope.
I think between the washboard on the gravel and the cobblestone rocks that we've been driving over here, I think they're all rattled out.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one that survived, then he deserves it.
The trail wound through the sagebrush, and watching our lights bounce off the dirt and the green colors of the sage was absolutely fantastic. As we approached the ranch, something caught my eye.
Do I see headlights down there?
We've been seeing those too.
We had just moved on from our intended camp. Were we going to have to move again?
Pretty sure I just saw like marker lights over there.
Yeah, there's a car right there back behind the ranch. Is that where you camp back there usually?
I don't know. I've never camped here.
Well, I like where I'm at right now. I'm just going to turn around.
Okay.
Did you see if there's another vehicle in here? There it is, over behind the house. Copy. Well, BLM just put out a big thing on this lake, so.
As it turned out, the people that were camped here were hunters, and they intended on leaving in the morning, so they didn't mind if we set up camp just outside Shirk Ranch. The historic Shirk Ranch is out in the middle of nowhere, Eastern Oregon, and it is an absolutely beautiful sight to see. If you've never been there, I highly suggest checking it out. We liked it so much that we stayed 2 days, mostly because we had planned on staying there one night, but got there a day early, so we saw all the sights and we cooked some really good food as well.
Because I didn't want to pee in a road with rabid coyotes. Duh!
The following morning, it was time to leave the ranch and hit the trail again. And after only one wrong turn, with James having to back up probably 500 feet, we got to our first obstacle. You might recognize this hill as the hill that popped Jason's tire when he took his drifter trailer up. As usual, the cameras just can't capture how steep and rocky this little trail really is. There are so many jagged rocks that you have to pick your line just right in order to avoid taking one of your tires off the bead. Also, as usual, it seems to be a Jeep that's having its first issue on the trail. It was nothing major. It turned out to be one of his shock boots, but the trouble was finding an Allen wrench that would actually fit.
There has to be one in there.
Yeah.
So we all just made it up that big, brutal climb, and we're coming up onto the flat parts of this trail. This is going to be a slow-going section because there's just so many rocks up here. But boy, is it beautiful.
This trail goes on for hours, and it's all just like this. Rocky, narrow, and flat. After several hours, we made it to our next destination, which is a small shared hunting cabin that's kind of off the beaten trail, but it's kind of cool too. The locals didn't seem to mind that we were just passing through.
Look at that road to the left, Gary. Looks like it goes up into a big flat camp area in the canyon. Oh yeah. Yep. That gate was closed, Gary. Copy that. Tally ho. Nowadays it's a hoe with a tally.
We were now coming out of the rocks and into the more open areas of the trail. This leads into an area called Domingo Pass, and from there, it's all downhill to fields. We made a quick stop for fuel and a burger at Field Station, and it looks like we weren't the only ones that had that idea. Not far from the rural community of Fields is the Alvord Desert. This was our destination from the get-go, but boy did it feel nice to finally put eyes on it. Our camp was nestled far on the western shore of the Alvord Desert. This way, we could have some block from the wind, and we could still enjoy the views of the Steens as the sun hit them first thing in the morning. First order of business was to set up camp, and thanks to my new rooftop tent, this only took about 10 minutes from start to finish. And it provides me so much more room, it's like carrying an extra spare bedroom with me wherever I go.
Thank you.
So what did you make us?
Old fashioned. Fabulous old fashioned.
It is a fabulous old fashioned here.
Just get you.
Do
Get
you
you
say
a
so
refill.
myself here?
I don't care if my shirt's off in the video. Just keep.
No, I I did.
We got to cheers this.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers to a kick-ass week with some good friends.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Meld. I'm starting. Now it's gonna take.
Gary, you're missing out.
It's gonna take some ice to melt now.
Yes, I am.
It might be a heater night.
Don't say that yet.
No.
You're gonna cook your wife.
The first night in the Alvord, we all gathered around the fire for dinner.
It's gonna hit the dirt.
Pick it up by the bone.
So,
Cut the steak.
what did you bring to the fire tonight?
We brought a Wagyu tomahawk and a Wagyu zubaton.
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 Is that like a dinosaur?
It's like
Whatever.
butter in your mouth.
Yeah. Whatever part of the cow that comes from.
Pretty good.
Perfectly cooked.
It doesn't suck.
This is the most delicious meat I've ever tasted.
Every once in a while.
As it turns out, James's fancy steak ended up being a real hit and was probably one of the best cuts of meat I've ever had. We spent the rest of the night around the fire and enjoyed our last night together as a group. The following morning, we had to say goodbye to our friend Gary. Gary, we really enjoyed you being along on this trip with us, and we look forward to many more.
Okay, Brandy, what are we doing here?
We're out of clamato juice, and we really want a beverage like a Bloody Mary, so we're gonna try it with tomato soup.
I'm making a red beer.
Out of Campbell's tomato soup?
Yep. We got a little Tabasco.
Okay.
Okay. A little Cholula.
Okay.
That's probably too much. And then for the final, the Montreal steak seasoning.
Oh, yes.
And I need a little sprinkle of some Himalayan salt. And we just go a little bit, just enough to, and we have to stir.
Smells good.
It's not too bad. It's not as good, quite as good as a Clamato, but it's close.
It's not bad.
I mostly taste the vodka.
So I didn't put enough juice in.
Not enough tomato in that.
Okay.
But it's good. It's different. What are you guys up to?
We go ride the desert.
So we're out here on the Alvord Desert, and I was scrolling Instagram, and I happened to see a post from another person that I follow on Instagram. And lo and behold, he ended up camping just down the way from us, and so he decided to come and say hi. So Nathan from Revin3 Adventures on Instagram and YouTube, he just kind of happened on our camp.
Yeah, I'm 500 feet that way.
Yeah, so anyway, you guys are out here for the weekend?
We're here for today, then we're going to go up the top of the mountains over there. We're going to go up on the Steens.
Yeah, so they're going to head all the way up to the top of Steens, but we're headed out of here tomorrow, but it was really great to run into him. I've always seen him on YouTube and Instagram, and it was good to finally actually connect.
Yeah, it was
nice to meet you, man. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
That evening, while sitting around the fire, I got some of the best news you can get. My daughter gave birth to a very healthy 6-pound, 6-ounce, brand new baby granddaughter. She's absolutely beautiful, and as you can see, she fell asleep waiting for me to finish part 2. The next morning, It was time for us to part ways, and everyone started getting everything packed up before heading out.
Since Scott is leaving today, he's helping me out by filling my water from his water, since I'm going to be out another week. Anyway,
Thanks, Shaq.
absolutely.
We had a great time. Yeehaw.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to the
Appreciate you
next
guys coming along, and let's do this again.
one. Definitely.
All right, tally ho.
Yeah.
As I watch the dust rise behind their trucks as they sped away across the desert, I reflect on the journey that we just spent the last week on together, and I'm thankful to have such awesome people to share my adventures with, and I look forward to many more in the future. Thank you for watching, and be sure to stay tuned to the channel for content from my Hawaii trip coming soon.